There we go, there's that familiar screen we all know and love. This is Shattered Glass, Turnabout Reversal, by TheDoctor. Oh. Shattered Glass being a sort of alternate universe where prosecutors and defense attorneys of the Phoenix Wright universe have reversed sides. This is fairly old, if I recall. I don't remember exactly when it came out, but I just feel like this has been around for a while. Give you a clear picture, Turnabout Substitution was released back in 2008. This was released in 2014, so it is pretty old, but... good old SVG fades. Thanks, Mozilla. I wonder if that still holds true now. Credits in the head of time? Hey, are you alright? Oh crap. This can't happen. This looks familiar. I can't be blamed for this. Gotta do something about this. Vine boom. Vine boom. Quick. Vine boom. About a reversal. Ooh, snazzy. Let me just, Yep, this brings back memories. Manfred von Karma, genius defense attorney, my mentor and founder of the Von Karma & Co. law offices. The defendant in this case. Frank Solid did not do it. Winston Payne is still Winston Payne. Claims to have only lost one case. I remain unconvinced. And Cindy Stone. Does that mean Larry did it? Coming model lived alone in an apartment. My badge? Proof of my possession. I prefer to keep it in my pocket outside of court. Intriguing. Alright, this is it. The one I've been training for. I can do this. Miles. Hello, Mr. Von Karma. I'm glad you could make it. Are you joking? I couldn't miss the debut trial of my star pupil. Are you adequately prepared? Indeed, sir. I have studied the relevant details of the case, spoken with my client, and I believe he is innocent. Very good. Now you had a chance to look over the autopsy report. I was able to skim through the preliminary version of the document. The coroner said he would be submitting his finalized copy to the court today. That's my boy. But remember, if you find your client to be guilty, I don't want you letting him go free just for a perfect win record. That reversal. Only truth can bring about true perfection. A win record founded on lies is meaningless. Understood, sir. You didn't remind me. You know who the prosecuting attorney is? Winston Payne. Cannot fathom what his parents were thinking when they named him. Some things never change, it seems. Now listen, he's known as the Rookie Killer for a reason. Throughout his career, he has only lost one case to a debuting attorney. However, you needn't worry too much. His courtroom tactics are fairly straightforward. Don't worry, I'm prepared for him. At the same time, do not allow yourself to become overconfident. Payne lacks presence, but that's precisely what makes him so formidable towards rookies. They become overly sure of themselves and end up overlooking important details. Details which completely destroy their cases. Hence the title of Rookie Killer, it would seem. Mr. Edgeworth? I don't mean to seem ungrateful, but are you sure you're up to this? It's not right to have Mr. Von Karma represent me, you know. Wiggle. I mean, this is your first case and all. It's my neck on the line here. I just think maybe you ought to let a more experienced attorney take the lead here. Nonsense. Miles is more than capable of pleading your case. Your worries are groundless. Up now. How long have we known each other? Would I have assigned your case to him had I not the utmost confidence in his abilities? I suppose not, but I still feel like I'm about to have a nervous breakdown. If it reassures you in any way, I shall be aiding Miles in court, should the need arise. I hardly doubt it shall come to that, however. You are in excellent hands, my friend. Thank you, sir. I assure you, you will not be disappointed. Well, Mr. Salt, it's time to go now. Alright, go in there and make me proud. And for heaven's sake, don't forget to smile. Oh god, it's a terrifying sight. My name is Miles Edgeworth. I'm a defense attorney. The details of my first case are relatively simplistic. A young woman was murdered inside her own apartment. The man they arrested for her murder was a newspaper salesman who discovered her body. A Mr. Frank Sawat. Another unfortunate name. Mr. Sawat has been selling newspaper subscriptions to my law firm for several years now. He's also been a good friend of Mr. Von Karma and I for a long time. Despite his overly polite demeanor, he is a genuinely decent person. I am unable to believe he would be capable of committing such a heinous act. All that remains is to convince the judge of that fact. And that is precisely what I shall do. Okay, intriguing. Look at the smile. Oh god. Smiling Von Karma. Utterly terrifying. Court is now in session with the trial of Mr. Frank Sawat. Prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Ah, Mr. Edgeworth, is it? This is your first trial, correct? Indeed, Your Honor. I'd like to give a small test to all debuting attorneys. Tell me, what is the name of the defendant in this case? Frank Sawat, Your Honor. And the victim's name is Cindy Stone. Yes, how did you know what my next question would be? Please, you've been asking the same test question since Von Karma passed the bar. Anyway, she was bludgeoned to death. Can we move on, please? Yeah. Mr. Edgeworth, since this is your first trial, I'll be lenient with you this time. However, from this point on, you will either show proper respect or you will receive a penalty. Is that understood? I apologize, Your Honor. It won't happen again. Edgeworth, please try not to get on the judge's bad side on your first trial. Brady's referring to me by surname now. That's when you know he's serious. Well then, Mr. Payne, would you please submit the autopsy report into evidence? Certainly, Your Honor. Lost blood due to blunt trauma. No injuries found. As the defense has stated, the victim died from blood loss after suffering blunt force trauma. The weapon was this statue of the Thinker. It was found lying on the floor between the victim and the defendant. I see. The court accepts this into evidence. Solid gold. Goddamn. Solid gold. Alleged murder weapon. Solid gold. Fingerprints and blood had been wiped off. Leftover blood traces match the victim's blood type. And there, 4 to 5 p.m. Blood trauma. No other injuries. Yada yada. Yada? Yada. Let's do it. Do anything else to add, Mr. Payne? Not at this time, Your Honor. Very well then. Will the prosecution please explain the charges against the defendant? It's quite simple, really. The victim was alone in her apartment when Mr. Sawat came in. Thinking the apartment owner was away, he decided to search for any valuables he could steal. What you say is mere conjecture. You have not yet presented evidence suggesting thievery. Sustained. Mr. Payne, do you have any evidence to back up your claim? The victim's pockets were empty, and the suspect had cash on that wasn't being kept in his wallet. Ordinarily, that wouldn't be an issue. However, he also had cash inside his wallet, implying that he picked up the other cash in a hurry. Maybe so, but you don't have any proof that the cash originally belonged to the victim. The defense is a point. Please stick with the facts, Mr. Payne. That's not all, Your Honor. The murder weapon just so happened to be made of solid gold. The defendant was likely attempting to steal the statue when he was discovered. In order to prevent the victim from calling the police, the defendant struck the victim with the statue. Wham! On the head. Smack! Killed her cold. I believe he could have done without the sound effects. Witness overheard the commotion and caught the defendant standing over the body. Witness called the police, who promptly arrested the defendant. Whoosh! An open and shut case if I ever heard of one. You may as well give up while you still can, rookie. Whoa! On the contrary, Miles, I can already perceive several flaws in his premise. Naturally, you won't be sharing those flaws with me. What's it interesting, chap? Not that matters, I've noticed a flaw or two of my own. Thank you, Mr. Payne. The The prosecution may now call its first witness. The prosecution calls the defendant, Mr. Frank Sort, to the stand. Oh boy. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the record. My name is Frank Sort. I am but a humble newspaper salesman. Mr. Sort, isn't it true that your newspaper business has been suffering as of late? I wouldn't say that. My business is just going through a bit of a rough patch right now. Many of my customers are now getting their news delivered digitally. My business has yet to go beyond paper and ink. Calm down, Sort. He's just trying to rattle you and you're playing right into his hands. Thankfully, I still have several loyal customers who prefer the traditional newspapers. Darn right. There's just something about traditional newspapers that feels so much more comforting. As much as the news delivered comfort in any medium. So much when it feeds me and pays the bills, so who am I to complain? Oh, you were definitely complaining. You were complaining so much that you broke into the victim's house to steal her valuables. What the fuck are you talking about? I mean... You had no reason to break into her house. I'm an honest businessman. Yeah, and I'm the Steel Samurai. Objection! Your Honor, the prosecution is badgering the witness. Moreover, Mr. Payne is most certainly not the Steel Samurai. Edgeworth, for heaven's sake, be serious. At least he isn't using my full name. Stain, please refrain from these ridiculous notions of being the Steel Samurai, Mr. Payne. At any rate, you didn't realize the apartment's owner was home. So rather than letting her turn you in, you decided to silence her. Permanently. Wham! On the head. Smack! Killed her cold. Getting a strange feeling of deja vu now. Before you could make your escape, you were caught in the act and were forced to wait there until the police arrived. Please, just let me explain what happened. Very well. Please explain to the court what you were doing at the victim's apartment. All right. I went to the apartment complex in hopes of finding some new customers. Needless to say, I didn't expect to stumble across what I did. Walking around for a while, I noticed someone left their door ajar. I knocked to see if anyone would answer, but no response came. So I took a peek inside to see if anyone was home. That's when I saw it. Victim's body bleeding on the floor. So I had to go to the phone to call an ambulance when someone saw me and called the police. Boom! Oh, there we go. Of course, permission, I should like the witness to elaborate on the events leading to his arrest. That'll be fine. I'm actually a little curious about why he didn't bother fleeing the scene. The answer's pretty obvious, but I'll explain it so Mr. Edgeworth can benefit from my court experience. The victim's boyfriend called the police. The defendant was overcome with his own guilt. He knew all that was left for him was to pay for his crimes. Yes, I suppose that's why we are pleading not guilty in this case. And not to interrupt, but aside from the fact that fleeing the scene makes you look like a criminal, the biggest reason I never left is because the victim's boyfriend was pointing a gun at me. I did go to the kitchen and call the police, but he had a clear shot from there, so I stayed put. He had me face the wall with my hands up, so I couldn't see if he always had the gun trained on me. I didn't want to chance it, no. Your Honor, I was not informed of this. You know how difficult it is for one to obtain a firearm here. I find the fact that the victim's boyfriend was in possession of one to be rather suspect. Objection! If the victim had been shot to death, I could see how this might be relevant. However, since she wasn't shot, there's absolutely nothing here that will help your case. Sorry. Nevertheless, I want to ask this individual a few questions should he take the stand. Fair enough. You do need to keep moving forward, though. Will the defense please begin the cross-examination? Do you mean to hear explain how to perform a cross-examination? No. It would be unnecessary, sir. Since there are no direct contradictions, I need only press for more information. Just so thoroughly examine the evidence and profiles in the court record at the time. Excellent. Glad to see the mock trials I put you through haven't gone to waste. Whoa, okay. Whoa, okay, right into it. What? Where the blazes did that come from? When the police came to arrest you, no newspapers were located on your person. How do you account for that if you were intent? Objection! Sorry, I didn't realize I was paying. If you were indeed trying to find new customers. First off, I am the one who is performing this cross-examination. Secondly, perhaps the defendant were to explain the duties of a newspaper salesman. Reason as to why he was not in possession of a newspaper at the time would become apparent. Very well, please explain this to the court, Mr. Sort. Ah, yes, you see, I do not go from door to door selling newspapers. Go from door to door selling monthly newspaper subscriptions. What? I see. Please continue with your testimony, Mr. Sort. This is a rather different pain.
Hold it!
I will admit. What exactly did you stumble across? I'll be getting to that shortly. Please be patient.
Hold it!
Now I think about it, I'm not quite sure what to ask here. But when you say ajar, do you mean the door was open part way? The door was mostly closed, but it was not simply not latched. The second one, I suppose. Although, if I'm not quite sure what difference it makes. Nor am I, for that matter.
Hold it!
Would you kindly explain how it is possible to knock on an open door? Pretty simple, actually. Just hold the door in place with one hand and knock on the door with the other. Why did I not think of that?
Hold it!
Why would you do such a thing? If anyone was watching at the time, you would have looked quite suspicious. Well, if someone was home, I would have left the door ajar and went on my way. If they were hoping within earshot of my knocking, it would mean they did not wish to see me. I would have also assumed it meant they left the door ajar on purpose. And if no one was home, I would assume they left the door ajar on accident and closed it for them. That makes sense. Please continue.
Hold it!
What exactly did you see? I'm getting to that. Will you shut up for a moment and let me finish? Sorry I asked. Sorry about that. Where was I? Oh, yes.
Hold it!
Could you please describe the state of the crime scene? Well, there was the victim's body, for one thing. A pool of blood next to her head. And a bloody knife, which I assume was the murder weapon. That's rather intriguing. It proved useful to add solid statement about the knife to the court record. Ah, not a legit knife. Would you kindly add that last statement to your testimony? If you insist.
Hold it!
Did you by any chance touch the knife? Not ridiculous. I've seen enough mystery films to know touching the murder weapon is a terrible idea. Makes a good point. However, I can't help but feel something doesn't add up about this.
Hold it!
You were going to use the victim's phone. Did you not have a cell phone at the time? About that. You'd have my cell phone at the time, but my service provider doesn't have the best coverage. I'd been in a low-coverage area earlier that day, and I forgot to turn off my 3G mobile network. Drain my battery dry. What do you make of all this? It's not for me to make anything out of this. It's not for me to make anything out of this testimony. That duty falls to you. Of course it does. It seems Mr. Sort has admittedly contradicted the evidence in one of his statements. You need to present the proper evidence at his statement containing the contradiction. Contradicting the contradiction. Yes, those are totally the words that were about to come out of my mouth.
Objection!
So, you believe that the knife you saw was the murder weapon? Well, I didn't see any knife wounds on the victim's back, but she was laying face down, so yes. I'm sorry, but that's simply not possible. According to the autopsy report, the victim was killed by a blunt weapon. Oh, I simply assumed. Objection! You ought to know what kind of weapon was used. You killed her.
Objection!
That is precisely my point. Inspector Sword did not know the victim was bludgeoned to death. As you can infer from this that he is not the murderer. Objection! Or maybe he's making up a pathetic lie to save his own skin. First of all, Detective Sky found no knife at the scene, bloody or otherwise. And as if the lie wasn't pathetic enough, the witness ought to know how the victim died. As I told him shortly after he came to the witness stand. Did you now? If I recall correctly, your exact words were, and I quote, "Wham! On the head. Smack. Killed her cold." You said absolutely nothing about the murder method or weapon. The only clues you gave were your asinine sound effects. Oh, fair point. I'm sorry, Mr. Payne, but what the defense says is true. But once after Mr. Sword's arrival, did you directly state the nature of the murder weapon? I'm pretty sure I at least mentioned it wasn't a gun, didn't I? Oh yes, how could we forget? You're the epitome of helpfulness, Mr. Payne. It seems, however, that we may need to hear someone else's perspective on this case. Prosecution, please call its next witness. All right, then. Prosecution calls the victim's boyfriend, Larry Butts, to the stand. Yeah. Here it goes. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. My name's Larry Butts, and I'm an entrepreneur of sorts. Would you please explain what you mean by entrepreneur? Well, right now it means I'm unemployed, attempting to get my next big break. A while back, however, I had designed this device called the Snapper. Let you turn your lights on and off by snapping your fingers. Wow, tech pro, Larry. Hey, that sounds like something I could use in my chambers. Mr. Butts, you are aware of the device called the Clapper, correct? That's the exact same thing, only with claps instead of snaps. That's the thing. I designed the Snapper first. Apparently more people are able to clap than snap. So when the Clapper came along, it kinda stole a little bit of my thunder. You can check the patent office to confirm this, if you like. I really don't think that'll be necessary. Larry Butts. Where the what have I heard that name before? Hey, Edgy, is that you? Dude, I haven't seen you in, like, ages. Looks like you're now a defense attorney to boot. Not too shabby, man. Wait a minute. Can't be. Not him. Miles, is everything alright? I'm okay. It's just that I recognized this guy from grade school. Classmates had a saying back then. When something smells, it's usually the butts. How droll. Seriously, this Butts seemed to have a difficult time keeping himself out of the principal's office. He's involved in this case, I don't imagine that to be a good thing. That may be so. Don't let yourself be fooled by preconceptions based off his behavior 20 years ago. Remember, in court, evidence is everything. You're right, I should just wait and see what he has to say. What's the matter, Edgy? No greeting for your old friend? You're right, I apologize. I cannot find words to express how it feels to see you again. The most accurate greeting I could muster. I wonder if they make devices that turn lights on and off when you pound a gavel. What am I talking about? I almost forgot we were on trial here. Thanks, Judge. Don't scale at me. I had nothing whatever to do with your forgiveness. Anything, blame Butts or Payne. Anyway. Mr. Butts, please testify to the court what you witnessed that day. What happened when you went to the victim's apartment? Do your thing, Gramps. Right, so the victim was my girlfriend, Cindy. I actually went to see her earlier that day. We hung out for a while. Did typical boyfriend-girlfriend stuff. But unfortunately, I eventually had to leave. I went to my car and I was about to head on out when I found I had left my keys in the apartment. When I got back, though, I found the door partly open and I heard noises inside. I went inside and saw that beast bash Cindy over the head with a statue, killing her. We either made him drop the weapon and then called the police so they could come get this creep. Only I hadn't left, maybe Cindy would still be alive. The problem is going to be that someone cleaned off the statue. Who? Actually, Mr. Butts, I have a few questions for you now that you're here. Brennan claims you pointed a gun at him in order to keep him there while waiting for the police. For the last 15 years, it's been most difficult for anyone not in law enforcement to obtain a gun. How then, pray tell, did you manage to come by one? Oh, that? Yeah, I didn't actually have a gun. I was holding a GI Megatron. G1 Megatron? Is that some kind of car engine? Actually, it's an action figure that shapeshifts to look like a gun. Don't they're that great fool. Are you nuts? The guy just made you murder your girlfriend. What if he could see the gun was fake? To pain is a point. You could have gotten yourself killed. As insane as this tactic sounds, I can attest to its efficacy. As I recall, the witness had taken that toy to school with him on several occasions. All was well until it took on the shape of a gun. I shall not regale you with the tales of my father asking me why my school was fought with policemen. See? I had nothing to worry about. Ask me what I make of his testimony, and I'll take over the case. That was not what I was trying to say. Or maybe it was, but just part of friendly conversation, I swear. Since there's no more questions about the gun, it may now begin its cross-examination. Whoosh!
Hold it!
How long did you know the victim? Objection! That line of questioning is hardly relevant. All you need to concern yourself with is the day of the murder. Save the chit-chat for after court, why don't you? Gad's pain actually is a point for once. Sustained, please remain focused on the matter at hand. Said the person who went off on a tangent about turning lights on and off with a gavel. Oh well, at least I didn't get a penalty.
Hold it!
Approximately what time did you go to visit the victim? I'd say it was about 1 p.m. or so. And while you were there, what exactly were you doing? Ah, yes. Define boyfriend and girlfriend. Define typical boyfriend and girlfriend stuff. Do you really want to know? On second thought, don't answer that question. Too bad, because I'm going to tell you anyway. Watched a movie and had lunch. Not as bad as I feared, but still, too much information. Well, I suppose it's my own fault for asking the question in the first place. Actually, I had to leave. You've gotten an approximation of the time you left. A little after 4 p.m., maybe? Hard to say. Interesting.
Hold it!
How far away from the apartment would you say you parked? The apartment parking lot was a little crowded that day, so I'd say about 5 minutes away. So about a 10-minute walk round trip. Would certainly leave enough time for someone to enter the apartment in his absence. Continue, please.
Hold it!
But it's strange that a killer would leave the door open to a crime scene he hasn't left yet. Believe it or not, that's what he did. I couldn't begin to tell you why. You assume everything saw it said was the gospel truth. It certainly provided an explanation for the open door. Conjecture won't help me in here. I need cold, hard evidence.
Hold it!
If that's the case, why didn't you put a stop to this? It all happened so fast, I wasn't able to stop him in time. So I ended up having to take him down after he clonked her. I'm assuming he allegedly dropped the statue because you pointed that toy gun at him. Not a toy, it's an action figure. Other than that, yeah, that's what happened. Figures, but forgets his keys, but remembers to bring his toy with him. God help me. Why did you immediately call the police? If it were me, my first thought would be to call an ambulance. I wasn't thinking straight at the time. I just saw Cindy brutally murdered. Give me a break. You say with 100% certainty that your presence would have had any impact at all. Maybe Chico would have frightened the killer away. Maybe would have cowered in fear the face of my awesome manliness. Possibly, but you'll never know for sure. I would hesitate to place the blame on myself were I in your shoes. Miles, would you explain to me how this line of questioning is in any way related to your case? I'm lulling into a false sense of security. Maybe you'll slip up and say something new. Very well. Carry on, then. Good boy. I really don't know why I asked this. Hopefully it works as I explained, though. Let me certainly offer Butts' testimony. It'd be best if I review everything I know at this point. You aren't asking me for help? That's a good sign. To put it in the common vernacular, I've got this one, Pops. Was that intended to be a joke of some kind? This raises the question of who added the starch to his... This raises the question of who added the starch to his undergarments. Fair enough. Excellent. So we're dealing with the question of how the weapon got wiped off. Let me see if I have this correct. You say you saw the killer bash the victim over the head, and you immediately made him drop the statue. Darn right. I'm sorry, but there's something here that I'm not following. The killer dropped the murder weapon immediately after committing the crime. Explain how he found the time to wipe his fingerprints for the murder weapon. He didn't need time, he was wearing gloves. You would think that explains things adequately enough. As would I. What about you, Mr. Edgeworth? Does a killer wearing gloves change anything? Killer wore gloves? Would that validate my objection? I'd say no, there's still a problem. No, the contradiction has not yet been explained. If the killer was wearing gloves, doesn't explain how he found time to wipe the blood off the statue. That's a new expression. Vince has raised an excellent point, Mr. Butts. What do you have to say for yourself? It's an honest mistake, I can explain. This does feel very Phoenix Wright 1-like. It's weird, I know I remembered seeing the killing blow. Must have gone into shock after seeing Cindy murdered like that. That kid could have walked right up to me and I wouldn't have noticed. Must have finished wiping the fingerprints and blood off the statue before I snapped out of it. That's it, that's gotta be the explanation. I believe that actually explains things quite adequately. However, the defense is entitled to a cross-examination. You may proceed, Mr. Edgeworth. Miles, what's wrong? This testimony. I don't think you'll be able to find anything to attack here. If I press him for more information, by all means do so, but I doubt there'll be anything more to find.
Hold it!
It's impossible. We've established there wasn't enough time for the alleged killer to clean the statue. How do you account for the gap between the killing blow and the time when you held up Mr. Sword? Much as I hate to admit it. I've gone into shock. Gone into shock? Surely you must be joking. How could we expect to believe that without any proof? Objection! Man, I just seen his girlfriend lying dead on the floor. It was a traumatic experience, which caused him to go into shock. It's not only completely plausible, it's entirely probable that something like that would happen. And your line of questioning is only traumatizing him further, so knock it off! I'm going to like hearing this, but Payne is right. Doesn't this explanation sound a little too convenient? Maybe so, but short of an additional eyewitness, you don't have any way of proving that.
Hold it!
That brings up an interesting question. Was that the alleged killer never noticed you at the time? Seemed rather unlikely to me. And if he did notice you, how did he not kill you? I didn't open the door any further than it was already opened. Behind the door just enough to where he wouldn't see me if he wasn't paying attention. Or telling the truth, or better, thinking of on-the-spot explanations that he looks.
Hold it!
All the same, it's just a little too convenient. You were in shock just long enough for him to clean the statue. But not in shock long enough for him to escape. Imagine! Won't you give it a rest? It is what it is, okay? But stop battering the witness unless you have some proof to back up your claims. But don't you want to talk? Huh.
Hold it!
I remain unconvinced. Believe what you want. Doesn't matter whether you're convinced. I see what I saw that day, and you can't prove otherwise. It should pain me to say it, he's right. This line of questioning is getting us nowhere. I believe the prosecution has proven their case.
Hold it!
Oh. How can you say that? You have absolutely no decisive evidence proving my client guilty. All you have are the prosecution's alleged allegations of thievery. The possibility that my client was trying to steal the gold statue. A statue you can't even prove he touched to begin with. The only testimony you have against him is that of one witness. Testimony which I find highly suspect, to say the least. Sorry, Mr. Edgeworth. In the courtroom, the burden of proof lies with the defense. What kind of backwards philosophy is that? Sorry, Miles, but the defense judge is right. With your overseas law training, I suppose you must have forgotten. Courts in the United States of Japan use the guilty until proven innocent paradigm. Ever since the DL6 incident, the laws were changed to make sure the guilty would be punished. No matter what the cost. But the cost is a man's life. I know that. That's why you cannot give up. If you truly believe in your client, you must find a way to turn this trial around. You review everything you know. Explore every possible angle. What did I tell you? Open and shut case. You could have pleaded guilty while you had the chance. I'm not guilty. Come on now, it's obvious to everyone that you're as guilty as they come. Shut your damn mouth. This is a mistake, a misunderstanding. Who needs to shut his mouth? It's you. I'm not the one on trial here. I said shut up. Woo! Free to pay. One mouth like that, Mr. Sword, and I'll hold you in contempt. Mr. Payne? Yes, Your Honor. Please return the defendants to pay, so that I can render my verdict. Fine. It's finally prove Mr. Sword innocent, but what can I do? There's some piece of evidence we overlooked. Someone related to this case we haven't heard from yet. What should I do? We can present evidence or call a witness. Can we call Emma Skye? That's it. We still be a way to turn this around. If there are no objections, well, I shall now render my verdict.
Objection!
Me and my big mouth. I apologize, Your Honor. However, there is still someone related to this case we have not yet heard from. What you say is true, then I suppose we must hear what that person has to say. But be warned. This is it's merely an attempt to stall for time, there will be a severe penalty. Understood, Your Honor. Very well then. Emma Skye?
Take that!
Emma Skye? Indeed, Your Honor. I believe Detective Skye may provide us with some valuable insight. Very well. Mr. Payne? Yes, Your Honor. Is Detective Skye ready to testify? We really need her to be. This case is so straightforward. I don't see how bringing Skye to the stand would change things. You may be right, but as a judge, I want to do what I can to ensure the accurate verdict. So, is the detective ready to testify? Yeah, about that. This was such a simple case, I didn't think it was necessary to bring her in. What exactly made you think that? Throughout my entire career, there's only been one time I needed the case as lead detective on the witness stand. Wasn't it the JFA1 case? Don't remind me. JFA1? Did it involve a bundle of bananas? Anyway, I didn't think this would be any different than the other 99%. Fine then. Court's adjourned for a brief recess while the prosecution gathers the last witness. The trial will reconvene in 30 minutes. Interesting foible. I can't say I'm fond of the direction this trial is taking. It's understandable. I know our client is innocent, but events have not been favorable. Only we had been notified of the case sooner. We might have been able to investigate the crime scene for ourselves. That being said, police have lately confined investigations to a crime scene's immediate surroundings. Therefore, in an effort to make sure this apartment gets investigated thoroughly, I took the liberty of sending my private investigator to the scene before the trial started. Police officers accompanying him as a necessary precaution. Wouldn't do if the prosecution were to accuse him of forging evidence on our behalf. Is your private investigator Gumshoe? Maybe you should contact him and see if he has any new evidence for us. Naturally, why else would I bring up this subject? Hello? Oh, Mr. Gumshoe, how's your analysis of the crime scene coming along? You'll be better, boss. I checked the medicine cabinet like you asked, but... Wait, why'd you ask me to check the medicine cabinet? Because Sawat claims to be the second person on the scene. Assuming the murder was related to burglary, most burglars would try to find any prescription medication lying around, black market and all that. Why not just take the statue? The statue is harder to hide than a pillbox. Besides, there was the murder weapon. Likely the burglar left it behind, so if caught, he or she would have plausible deniability. Hypothetically speaking, of course. Seems rather far-fetched if you ask me. Leave no stone unturned, my boy. Are you guys done yet? Sorry, please continue. I was trying to say we could rule out that theory. It's a full bottle of antidepressants here. Antidepressants? I can imagine her boyfriend was Larry Butts after all. Don't know about that, pal. I think if that were the reason, she'd have taken some by now. And this prescription was filled 2 weeks before the murder. In any case, depression is not the only malady antidepressants are prescribed for. They're also used to treat anxiety, OCD, eating disorders, and in some rare cases, rage. Is that a fact? Mr. Gumshoe, would you kindly have the officer with you submit the evidence for me? Court record online commission case ID is SG11. Authorization Miles Edgeworth. Will do, sir. Alright then. Yep, exactly what it says. Thank you, Gumshoe. You deserve a raise. Now then, do you have a plan of attack for when the detective gets here? Or was this merely an attempt to stall for time? To be honest, the latter was my original intention. But now I believe I might have an inkling about what may have actually transpired. What would this inkling of yours be? Not just yet. I'd like just a little more proof before I divulge any details. In case I'm wrong. Honestly, same head, Edgeworth. I understand completely. For now, I actually have a question for you. Why don't you refer to this case to me? This is my first official trial, and you gave me a murder case with no time to investigate the scene. Don't get me wrong, I am flattered by your trust in me. However, I believe an explanation is in order. I'm sorry, but that will have to wait. Recess is almost over. Incidentally, do you know where your client is right now? He said he felt a little nauseous. I'd be able to escort him to the restroom just to be safe. Hello, Mr. Edgeworth. Sorry I took so long. I'm feeling a little better now, though. Although you're still sweating profusely. Poor guy. You think you'll be alright after recess is over? Yes, it was just nervousness after receiving that guilty verdict. No need to worry about that anymore. You had best return to the courtroom now, though. What is back in session? Has the prosecution secured its witness? Naturally, Your Honor. She didn't seem too happy about having to come here at the last minute, though. Maybe you'll consider that the next time. You think a detective won't need to take the stand. Yes, Your Honor. Very good then. Is the defense ready to continue? Most certainly, Your Honor. To be honest, I'm wondering why the prosecution hasn't called the witness to the stand by now. Good question. Would the prosecution mind answering this for us? I thought I was supposed to wait and see if the defense was ready first. Technically you are, but I thought a little psychological warfare was in order. Since the defense is obviously ready now, the prosecution will now call its next witness. The witness please state her name and occupation. Emma Skye, police detective. Look, I don't mean to be rude, but could we please speed things along? I thought I had the day off today, so I promised my cousin I'd go ice skating with her this afternoon. Rain closes at 1 p.m. today, and I have a half hour to drive. And I have a half-hour drive to go pick her up. I'd like to keep that promise, if possible. We're sorry for the inconvenience, Detective Skye. She'll try not to take up too much of your time. Thanks, I appreciate it. Mr. Von Karma, hi, I didn't know you'd be here. Miles, I haven't seen you since Mr. Von Karma took my sister's case 6 years ago. Oh. Pleasure to once again make your acquaintance, Detective Skye. I'm pleased to see you made detective while I've been away. Sadly, however, the reminiscence must be put on hold. We'll attempt to be brief. So hopefully your promise to your little cousin can remain unbroken. Your cousin, huh? Right, thank you. Out of the way, will the witness please testify about her investigation? Alright, let's do this. Scientifically speaking. One of the first things we did was ascertain the victim's cause of death. It was pretty easy to see that the victim was killed with a blunt object. The statue matched the criteria. We hypothesized that it was the murder weapon. What the Okay, you're just adding science words just for the sake of science. That's annoying. I've resprayed the area in the statue with alchemically enhanced luminol just to be sure. The only areas that tested positive were the floor where the victim died and the statue itself. The reports confirm this was consistent with the wound and the victim's blood type. It's all pretty cut and dry, scientifically speaking. Is this the gimmick here? Hold on. Ooh, what? Why? Even listening to a word I said. Yeah, that's the gimmick here. She's too sciencey for us. Oh boy. I just didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night. I'll try this more closely during the cross-examination. Whatever, fine. I need to rethink my stance on allowing coffee in the courtroom. Appears that this testimony shall require some digging. Indeed, with the right questions, you might be able to turn this entire case on its head. Or at least, manage to procure some valuable information that will later prove useful. If you two are done, can we move on with the cross-examination? Witness does have an appointment she wants to keep today. Don't think you're winning any points with me, Bane. You're still the one who waited to call me until the last minute. Well, will the defense please hurry up with this cross-examination already? With your honor's permission? Granted. Begin your cross-examination. Alright.
Hold it!
How'd you go about doing that? By examining the body, of course. Ah, naturally. Please continue.
Hold it!
Wouldn't be too sure about that. My client thought the victim was killed with a knife. Didn't really understand why. Again, he's not a trained professional like I am. Regardless to the scientific eye, the cause of death was obvious. Very well then. This is thankfully brief.
Hold it!
And of course, you took steps to make sure this was the case. Katonk. Did you fall asleep too during my testimony? I already said we did. Of course I didn't fall asleep. I was paying attention to your every word. I'll bet you were. Shut up. Moving on.
Hold it!
What the fuck is alchemically enhanced luminol? If you're uninformed, would you mind explaining what this alchemically enhanced luminol does? What? Do you not know what luminol is, Miles? Of course I know what it is. I just thought Mr. Payne might benefit from knowing. It's alright, Miles. I don't mind telling you. You saw right through me. Oh no. Listen carefully. There may be a test. Luminols were started chemically exhibits chemiluminescence mixed with appropriate oxygen. Oh, okay. This is an actual explanation. Exhibits chemiluminescence when mixed with an appropriate oxidant. In layman's terms, mix it with the right substance and it glows blue. Now, the oxidant alone won't do the trick. For that desired blue glow, you need a catalyst like iron. Particularly useful because iron is found in hemoglobin, so any bloodstain will cause a glow. The drawbacks, though, because also react with fecal matter, blend, bleaches, horseradish, etc. The luminol we use has been alchemically enhanced to where it only reacts to blood. Okay, so it's just a... So now, as long as you wear specifically designed goggles or even glasses like I'm wearing now, any blood that luminol reacts with shows up as a bright blue color. And there you have it. Luminol in a nutshell. Okay, that's actually... That's a, reasonable explanation mixed with, pseudoscience nonsense to explain gameplay terms. Fair enough. Alchemically enhanced is a bit silly, but, you know. Explanation works. Alright. Thank you, Objective. That was very informative. Shockingly. Yes, indeed. Thank you. You may continue now.
Hold it!
No blood spatter. How much of the area did you cover, exactly? Oh, that reminds me. I forgot to give you guys the map of the scene. The area outlined with red is the area of the apartment we searched. Light blue spots are where the luminol tested positive for blood. In case it doesn't show it. Yeah, bedroom, entrance, victim, statue, katonk, blood spatter there. Interesting. What am I doing there? Don't mind me. You didn't investigate the entire apartment? No. Chief's been having us confine investigations to the immediate surroundings. So he's trying to save the department some time from investigating more cases. I see. You may continue. is a part of that genre of explaining Phoenix Wright universe limitations and setbacks with actual story integration.
Hold it!
Not much. I'm rather curious as to what exactly the blood test was performed. In this case, it was a simple test to determine whether the blood type was OA, B, or AB. Why not perform a DNA test? One cannot afford to leave any room for doubt when a man's life hangs in the balance. I know that, but this isn't some courtroom drama. DNA tests take a very long time to perform. The results wouldn't have been ready in time. But helps you can always file an appeal if the DNA results shed new light on the case later on. I'm aware of that, but Von Karma & Co. law offices prefers that appeals not be made necessary. Especially considering appeals are rather difficult to make in this day and age. In any case, you at least have that to fall back on. Incidentally, the victim's blood type was O positive. Thank you. Detective Sky. Thank you, Detective Sky. Sorry.
Hold it!
I beg to differ. There's still plenty of room for doubt. What makes you say that? Because... Miles, you can argue with me all you want, but you can't argue with scientific investigation. Perhaps it's not the best place to gather information. No, you're hardly against providing any help while you're here. Whatever gave you that impression? You did. Anyway, would you mind telling me exactly how I should proceed here? If I must. First, you need to gather as much information as you can. Next, you should see if anything in this court record can be examined in more detail. I shall leave the rest to you. It's gonna be wrong because we have a specific extra point on the floor that we can point at and say that's blood. Due to the wording of this statement, a direct objection may not be the best course of action. Actually, regardless of how far the blood stain is from the victim, it's still on the floor. The floor is where the victim died. No, I believe a different approach will be required here. Press her about this issue. Press we shall then. Ask her about the map, ask Anna. Wait a minute, hold up. Ask about the map, ask Anna how her day's been. Let's waste some of her time. How's your day been? So Emma, how's everything been going for you lately? Baton, why do you pop with stackers? I just said you try to be brief. Mr. Edgeworth's line of questioning is a waste of the court's time. Agreed to penalize you for this. I think the good detective's wrath is enough punishment. After all, hell hath no fury like a woman. That was hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Trust me, it's hell hath no fury like a woman. Well, alright then.
Hold it!
Right. As about the map. There's something I find quite puzzling about this map. Like what? Would you mind pointing it out to me, please? If you insist. Point out the blood spot. That bloodstain? What about it? There's something rather peculiar here I'd like you to explain to the court. Would you kindly tell us exactly why this bloodstain is so far from the body? Yeah! Tell you the truth, we wondered about that at first. As near as we can tell, it had to have been the impact causing the blood to splatter. As near as we can tell, it's not an acceptable explanation, Detective. Think what you want, but it's likely Mr. Von Karma said when he was helping my sister. And you've eliminated the impossible. Whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. That's a Sherlock Holmes quote. Von Karma only borrowed it. Seriously, I mean, what else could have caused that bloodstain? A knife?
Take that!
A bloody knife? Indeed. Okay, first of all, there was no knife on the scene. Secondly, even if there was, the victim had no wounds aside from the blow to the head. Finally, it couldn't possibly be the defendant's blood because his blood type is A positive. Is it now? Thank you, Detective Sky. You have been most helpful. So, have you gathered the information you needed? I believe I have. Need now just one moment to think through the events. Woo! Zoom! Alright, main problem with the blood stain on the floor is that it's too far away from the body. Supposedly it's due to blood spattering from the blunt impact. Doesn't seem very likely. Obviously the second blood stain could have easily been caused by the bloody knife. This raises the question. I can't actually see the knife. Yes. Of course he saw the knife in the apartment, so why was it no longer there when Emma arrived? Need to work out the course of events according to both Sawat and Butts. First, Butts left the apartment. While Butts was gone, Sawat noticed the corpse and the knife. Butts returns to the apartment, sees Sawat, points his toy gun at him, and calls the police. Clearly, Sawat must have absconded with the knife sometime after Sawat laid eyes on it. Sometime before the investigation team arrived. The question is, who would have moved the knife during this time period? Frank, Larry, or someone else? Sincerely doubt anyone else could move the knife without being seen by Butts or Sawat. No, it's absolute rubbish. I believe Occam's razor would be applicable here. However, Larry. Yes, based on the testimony and the evidence, Miss Butts is very likely the one who moved the knife. This would definitely implicate Butts in Miss Stone's murder. That only leaves the question of where the knife was moved to. Where Butts stashed the knife? Outside or inside the apartment? Inside? Butts hid the knife in the apartment. Eureka! As Emma stated, only a portion of the apartment was examined. But could conceivably hide the knife inside the apartment without it being found, in this case. Let's get Gumshoe on the job. Okay. I may, Your Honor. There happens to be a private detective and a police officer on the scene. I would like to have them search a few unexamined areas of the victim's apartment. As long as they're already there, I don't see why not. What exactly will they be searching for? The knife, Your Honor. The map shows that not all areas of the apartment were examined. And if these other areas are examined, the knife will indeed be found. Okay then, place the call, Mr. Edgeworth. I don't know, Your Honor. This sounds like a waste of the court's time. Where would they even begin to look? Blood loss due to blunt trauma, no other injuries found. What is the knife, and what does it have to do with anything? Excuse me, like I said earlier, Mr. Butts did go to the kitchen to call the police. I didn't think much of it at the time, since that's where I saw the phone. However, as my back was turned at the time, I couldn't see exactly what he was doing. Maybe he hid the knife somewhere over there. I suppose it's possible. The kitchen wasn't part of the crime scene's immediate surroundings. However, I know there's a new policy supposed to help, but I think the entire house is total. Okay. First to get it done right. If Detective Sky's quite done much of your snackoos. Sorry about that, I munch when I'm stressed. Anyway, the kitchen sounds like a good place to start. Edgeworth, make the call. Right away. This is Gumshoe. The Gumshoe, we need you to search the kitchen for a blood-stained knife. The knife may or may not have been wiped clean. Have you any alchemically enhanced luminol? That's silly. Never leave home with that, pal. Excellent. Let's just start with the utensil drawers of the dishwasher. Makes sense. I'll be right on it. Oh, look what we have here. A bloody knife in the dishwasher. Just like you said. Can't test for the blood type right now, but I'll have Officer Meekins submit this into evidence. Oh, God. Go ahead, sir! So there's a bloody knife in the dishwasher. So what? It's just the blood belonged to the victim. No. The blood can't possibly belong to the victim. It says as much in the autopsy report. So So would you have us believe the blood on this knife belonged to Larry? Logically, the only person the blood could belong to would be Larry Butts. So it had no knife wounds, only Mr. Butts could hide the knife after Saw it. No! Saw it. Oh, and I believe this changes things considerably. I believe you may have a point. The day when we needed to check if the blood on the knife matches what's on the floor. I think we can get this case wrapped up by tomorrow. That'll be all for today, though. What's the jerk? You guys don't need to check the blood type on that knife. I admit it, it's my blood on there. So you admit you were wounded with a knife. Would you care to elaborate on how? Was the victim trying to defend herself, or did she go crazy and attack you first? Attack me? No, we were eating a steak and I accidentally cut myself without digging it. That's all it is. Sorry, but your client's still guilty here. It's also innocent. Pray tell why you hid the knife. I didn't hide it. It was dirty, so I put it in the dishwasher. Simple as that. It actually makes sense. If the blood was from you cutting yourself, that's still tampering with the crime scene. Wasn't a crime scene when I put it there. That creep never saw any knife. Like that giant banana over there said. He was making up a pathetic lie to save his own skin. Him lying about the knife being there was just a coincidence. That's exactly right. Glad we got the clear. Hey, who are you calling a giant banana?
Objection!
It's absurd. Let's say it's all a coincidence is implausible beyond rationality. Objection! Implausible or not, you don't have any proof he was lying about how the blood got on the knife. Even if a DNA test proved Butts' blood was on both the knife and the floor. At a motive, the worst crime to get charged with is tampering with the crime scene. Still illegal, I know, but certainly nowhere near as bad as murder. Prosecution is correct. You've yet to establish any motive that would implicate Mr. Butts. Exactly right. Sorry I had to end this way on your first trial, rookie. The witness will testify for us once more about that day's events. Oh, come on! Defense shall then cross-examine the witness. However, if nothing resembling a motive can be reasonably established, I'm afraid I'll have no choice but to render a guilty verdict for the defendant. Whatever. Fine, at least we won't be wasting too much time this way. I can't believe it. I was so close to ending this. Ching! You'll be fine, Miles. We have him right where you want him. Getting the guilty to break down, as you know, is like gravity. All it takes is a little push. If everyone is ready, Mr. Butts, your final testimony, please. Alright, let's do it. Final testimony. I'm not a murderer. Bro. Listen, you gotta believe me, I didn't murder Sydney. It's hard for people like you to understand, Edgy, but you typically don't kill people you love. What's that supposed to mean? There's one thing I know, I said I love Sydney. Past tense, she was a happy, healthy person. Got that in the prime of her life, and I had nothing to do with it. Gone, the knife is there because I cut myself trying to eat my steak, that's all it is. Oh, we're gonna present the antidepressants here, aren't we? Let's stop trying to play with this and start going after actual murder, why don't you? God, this is gonna turn out to be a domestic dispute, isn't it? Witness has made a statement, the defense will begin cross-examination. This is your last stand. Are you capable of handling this? More than capable. It's finally time to expose the truth. Then get in there and fight!
Hold it!
Alright, let's do it. I most certainly do not have to believe you. The fact that you are still continuing with this ridiculous charade is astounding. Objection! Would you please stop badgering the witness? I wonder if, Payne's voice clip is gone from Ace Attorney Online, or broken on Ace Attorney Online, because this is the second case now that Payne has been in that is utterly broken. Look, I get that it's your first case, and you want to get your client off the hook. But you're gonna need solid evidence for that. That proof you just look stupid when you constantly insist someone committed a crime. I wonder if he was aware of the irony of that statement.
Hold it!
proof do we have that you loved her? All we have is your word on this. Without corroboration of the deceased, that doesn't really amount to much, does it? Why, you little... That doesn't. When we're done here, I'm gonna sue you for defecation of character. That's defamation of character, you ignorant simpleton. Not quite the words I would have used, but they shall suffice.
Hold it!
I find it interesting that you just used that term in the past tense. Well, duh, so he's kind of dead now, you know. Good point. I think that same thought and that same counterpoint in my head when I was first reading that testimony. But if you're truly in love, would you not have still loved her even after death? Nah, that's really kind of gross, man. As usual, he's completely missing the point. Yeah?
Hold it!
Really? Are you quite sure of this? Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with my Cindy. Why'd she have to die? She was way too young. Should it be instead? But he's talking about her. I wonder if he even knows about that.
Hold it!
You know, come she was still at the crime scene, it should be easy enough to prove you ate steaks. All we need to do is check the garbage for your steak bones. Sorry, but we weren't eating T-bones. I ate a boneless steak. I was kind of hoping he'd say he ate the bone too. Oh well.
Hold it!
Methinks thou doth protest too much, Mr. Butts. Yeah, could you say that again in English? That was English, you uncultured rube. I mean, you are just a little too adamant that someone else killed the victim. Makes it seem as if you have something to hide. Objection! Someone is being accused of a crime they didn't commit. It's only natural for them to deny guilt. By your logic, if anyone says they didn't commit a crime, then they must be guilty. Your client even said he didn't do it. If this means he and the witness are co-conspirators. I noted a semantic slippery slope fallacy as well as an appeal to ridicule in that statement. Just wait though. He objects now, but I guarantee he will use my argument in a future case. No doubt without proper context. I just had a thought. What if he were to contradict more than one piece of evidence at once? No! Well, obviously, you would need to present more than one piece of evidence then. No! Why are you doing this to me all at once? Like a sort of soup? No! Don't be damned. Such tomfoolery is completely unnecessary. So we present one piece of evidence and follow up with more as needed. It's a moot point, however, since the witness has only contradicted one piece of evidence. I'm sure you can ascertain which one it is. If you had any thoughts in your head about super objects, I suggest you drop them now. Thank you for being reasonable. I'm realizing this is probably from the era of Ace Attorney fan cases where that became prevalent, but thank you for just spoofing it, not actually using it. Thank you. Thank you. I love you.
Objection!
Antidepressants. Mr. Butts, you say Miss Dunn was a happy, healthy person. I'll ask you once more. Are you absolutely certain of this? Definitely. I'm positive. Mr. Butts, this pill bottle was found in the victim's medicine cabinet. Forgive me, but I have a little trouble believing the antidepressants would be prescribed to her. She was indeed both happy and healthy. Alright, so she was taking antidepressants. What difference does it make? Actually, it probably wouldn't make any difference at all if she had actually been taking them. However, this prescription was filled 2 weeks ago, yet not one pill's been taken. Not sure where you're going with this, Mr. Edgeworth. Would you allow me to elaborate, Your Honor? Alright, I'll abide. Are your antidepressants prescribed to the victim? I don't like where this is going. Some other reason. Not depression. You know, as surprising as it may be, antidepressants are not solely used to treat depression. They're also used to treat anxiety, OCD, eating disorders, and in some rare cases, rage. Wow. Learn new things every day. So if that's the case, why don't you tell us what symptom the victim was suffering from? It's gonna be rage. My dear Mr. Payne, the answer to this whole affair is elementary. And he still is being treated for anger management issues. Is that actually a real fact? They don't specifically target anger, but they do have a calming effect. I can help you control negative emotion. You know, Mr. Butts had both the means and opportunity to kill Miss Stone. Back to an anger management, and now we have a plausible motive. Self-defense. Based on the look in your face, I'm exactly right, aren't I? It was you, Larry Butts. You killed Cindy Stone in self-defense, then tried to frame Frank Saw it. Ah! Objection! There's a look on your face because you're badgering him. Besides, if it was self-defense, shouldn't he have had some knife wounds somewhere on his body? Well, you should mention that. But first, I have 3 questions for the witness. Mr. Butts, are you right-handed or left-handed? Left-handed? What part of that? Next question, would you kindly give a thumbs up with your right hand? You mean like this? Excellent. Now, will you please perform the same gesture with your left hand? Are you done with your questioning yet? Thought I'd noticed something off. Mr. Payne, note that the witness appeared to be rather stressed when he was using his left hand. However, this was not the case when he was using his right hand. I go the defense concludes Mr. Butts was placing undue pressure on a knife wound in his left palm. Witness, is this true? Yeah, it's true. Objection! What? Why do I have a full penalty? He said he cut himself at a stake. Maybe that would explain it. That explains the wound perfectly. And if we say that, we end the case completely. We have to raise an objection. Thought you might say that, which is why I asked the witness whether he was right or left-handed. To an admission, he is left-handed. This, my dear prosecutor, brings up a rather interesting problem. What is it about the witness's left-handedness that conflicts with his story about the wound? Lefties are pathological liars, of course. You take that baseless slander back. Size of the wound, wound's location. Location? This wound just happened to be located on his left palm. Explain how a left-handed person holds a knife handle in his left hand and slices his left palm. Ah! No! Now then, are you finally willing to tell the truth, Mr. Butts? It was an accident. I didn't mean to. You needed help. You would suddenly lash out at people sometimes. Man, I could handle a black eye now and then. I was worried she might get in trouble. I finally convinced her to talk to a therapist, and I guess she never followed through with his help. And that day she started slashing at me with a knife after lunch. I tried to knock her out with the statue. I never meant to kill her. I am sorry, Larry. Why don't you go for help when the abuse started? I tried. My friend just kept telling me to grow a backbone. Sounds like they weren't very good friends, if you want my opinion. I don't understand, though. Why frame an innocent person for her death? Could have come to us. I'm certain the judge would have understood the situation. I didn't mean to frame anyone at first. I was just trying to run away. After I got in my car, I remembered the knife with my blood on it. So I went back to the apartment to get rid of the knife. When I saw him there, I just panicked. Now that you tampered with the crime scene and tried to have someone else take the fall, I don't believe a judge would look too kindly on that fact. This judge certainly wouldn't. I'm grateful that I will not be presiding over your case, Mr. Butts. Mr. Payne, have the witness taken into custody. Yes, right away, Your Honor. In any case, this court would like to extend its apologies to Frank Sort. A grave mistake was almost made today. Thankfully, however, Mr. Edgeworth helped us to find the truth. Let's go and find the defendant. Mr. Frank saw it. That's all. This court is adjourned. The night did end up meaning something. Excellent job in them eyes. Oh god, that's loud. You made an old man proud. What can I say? I had an excellent teacher. That may be, but you were the one who pieced everything together. You did well. Yes, thank you so very much. Won't forget this. Gratitude runs very deep in my family. Only your father was still alive. I'd be most pleased with your accomplishments today. He's certain. Father was a prosecutor, but I studied to be a defense attorney. It does not matter what side of the courtroom you are on. Your father may have been a prosecutor, but above all else, he was a man of integrity. He would never stand for an innocent person to be found guilty. You honored his memory by saving Mr. Solid. Never tell yourself any different. Aside from that, you and I both know why you decided to be a defense attorney. We'd hardly object to your motivations, and you know it. Of course, you're right. But having a moment of self-doubt, I suppose. Hey, Miles, congratulations, congrats on winning today. What? Hey. What are you still doing here? I thought you and your cousin were going to go skating. I know that. I just wanted to say goodbye real quick, so... Goodbye. Boom! Why is he grinning like that? Well then.
Hold it!
We'd best be on our way. Not just yet, Mr. Von Karma. You promised me an explanation. Funny, I don't remember promising anything. Goddess, I would like to clear something up. First, you assigned a murder trial to someone who only just passed the bar exam. Secondly, there was a certain piece of evidence that helped us win this case. But the explanation given for it was somewhat far-fetched at the time. But, despite the reasons given for finding it and the role it played in the case being unrelated, came the linchpin in proving Mr. Butts' guilt. Wish you wouldn't be so vague, Miles. Would you simply show me this evidence? Conveniently decisive, eh?
Take that!
The antidepressants. Said you had Gumshoe check the medicine cabinet because someone might have burgled it. No one would go through all that trouble. There was a golden statue ripe for the taking. So if it was the murder weapon, they could have melted it down and no one the wiser. Well, you caught me. I'll explain everything. When Frank first told me what happened, I had a fairly good idea who murdered Miss Stone. From the time was that I lacked sufficient evidence for a motive. At that point, however, there was not enough time to both prepare the case and investigate. Ergo, I delegated the case to you so I would have the opportunity to interview the victim's friends. Given the victim's line of work, I suspect that she might have had some sugar daddies. Oh. After all, jealousy is a fairly common motive for murder amongst couples. However, most of the people who knew her said no one in his right mind would date her. Oh. The only consensus was that her temper was uncontrollable. People thought she may have gone to receive care, but that didn't seem to be effective. Since you were the lead attorney, I could subpoena her medical records. Giving you her acquaintances of affidavits about her temperament would have been too easy. It'll give you a better chance to solve the case on your own. I sent Gumshoe to the crime scene. Probably of him finding anything useful was remote, but in the end, everything went well. I kept the affidavits on hand as a trump card just to be safe. Unfortunately, it never came to that. Wait a minute, you mean you were withholding evidence this whole time? Certainly not. I was merely waiting for them to become relevant before I used them. time they actually became relevant, you were already winning anyway. It hardly matters, though. When all was said and done, you were all still the one who closed the case. I suppose you're right. Thank you for all your help. However, that is what I'm here for. We need to leave now, though. Yes, of course. Incidentally, I have some important business to attend to tomorrow. She needs to retrieve my daughter from the airport then. She's returning from a mistress. Right, the exchange school program. Shouldn't be a problem, sir. But again, it's Francisca. Thank you, Miles. I appreciate it. With that, I ended the first case of my career on a relatively high note. That must be the first step towards finding the truth about a haunting event from 15 years ago. My father's death. The DL6 incident. A case that forever changed the face of the legal world. I will not reach that journey's destination for some time, however. My journey's next step, though, is one I was completely unprepared for. Babysitting. Oh. Oh. Getting anything? Ahem, that was indeed the end of the case. There was nothing that came after that. So that's the end of Turnabout Reversal. It says that... That's a curious thing. It says that this was the first case of a series, which is admittedly an interesting alternate universe. It'd be interesting to see more of, but I don't know if there's ever anything... I don't know if there was ever a proper follow-up case to this. I am unable to find it. I'm searching around. There's one way I could probably go about finding it, but yeah, I don't know how far, if I'll pursue this one any further. Trial by Fire sounds interesting. I don't know if there's anything else in the original continuity of that this was intended for, but yeah, we will. So probably try something different next video. It was interesting. It was like as much as the like sort of in-universe ways of explaining the detective, police limitations and the like. Much as they kind of made sense, they still felt a little tacky. Am I wrong for saying that? No, not it worked, but it still felt odd. I don't know. Is it tacky to explain those things? Does it add anything to explain those things? Yeah, kinda. Is it a bit forced? Well, maybe no, but maybe it just felt a bit forced and purposefully odd for the sake of explaining gameplay stuff. Like, did we need that odd rule about immediate surroundings in order to make the knife bit work? Probably not. It would make perfect sense for the knife to be in the dishwasher, the way it was explained. And you wouldn't go luminoling a dishwasher, would you? I mean, why would you? That'd be odd. No reason for it. There's no knife wounds on the victim, so it's perfectly rational for something like that to come up naturally as mist. It's an odd detail to fixate on, but beyond that, if this did continue any further, I hope they kind of limit Von Karma's involvement, because he's almost too powerful. It's an interesting take on Von Karma. Very interesting. Von Karma, but his powers have been applied for good. It's interesting to see that whole Von Karma family dynamic actually develop in a positive light. But he was still very, very powerful here. It's sort of solving the plot off screen in a sort of BBC Sherlock way, where you see the side character do some actual detecting, and then the main character comes along and says, "Oh, actually, here's what happened. Something, something, something. Here's what happened, and solve the case. Tell you why you solved the case ahead of time." Bit too powerful, I feel like. But it was nice. It worked. I'll have to edit that part out then. Till next time, until then. Thanks for watching.